Welcome to the configuration guide for the Australian payroll system. Before you can run your first payroll, you must establish your pay item setup. Think of this page as your payroll central nervous system. It connects your HR activities directly to your general ledger and ensures every cent is ATO compliant. We will cover financial mapping, tax setup, and the specific rules for earnings, allowances, and superannuation. First, let's look at the default accounts tab. This is where you bridge the gap between payroll and accounting. In the financial mapping section, you will select your G/L accounts for salary expenses and liabilities. By defining these here, the system automatically knows where to post the data during a pay run. For ATO compliance, you will map your PAYG withholding and superannuation liability accounts in the same section. Finally, under Workflow Automation, link your specific payroll series and journal templates. This ensures that when you click Post, the entries flow into the correct batch for your finance team to review. Moving to the bank account section. Here, you define which company bank account will be used for disbursement. You can also set a unique payment series number to keep your payroll bank entries separate from general business expenses. Next is the Medicare tab. This is a simple but vital step. Here, you confirm the current Medicare percentage required for Australian healthcare compliance. This value feeds directly into the salary tax calculator we discussed earlier. Now, let's configure the items that actually appear on an employee's payslip. Under Earnings Setup, you will manage core items like base salary and overtime. When setting these up, pay close attention to the subtype, such as OT or variable, as the selection determines if the item attracts superannuation and how it is taxed. Allowances are treated separately. Whether it's a meal, travel, or laundry allowance, you can set a default rate and choose a calculation basis, whether it's an hourly rate or a fixed quantity. Not all pay items add to the total. Some take away. Use the deductions section to manage professional fees or workplace giving. A key feature here is the deduction from gross toggle. If set to true, the deduction happens before tax. If false, it's a post-tax deduction. You can also set a limit to ensure deductions stop automatically after a certain amount or date. For business expenses like training or travel, define your items under reimbursements. You can even specify if a reimbursement should be included in the super calculation via the Super Include subpage. Finally, we have the superannuation setup, which is perhaps the most critical for compliance. For statutory rates, you have the option to toggle Use Statutory Rate, which automatically applies the current legal 12% guarantee. While the system defaults to the standard $450 threshold, you can customize this if your company agreement differs. If your firm offers match savings or additional super contributions, use the Company Contributions section to map the specific expense and liability accounts for those above and beyond payments. The Leave Setup tab defines your accruals. You can create types for annual, long service, or personal leave. Start by defining the annual entitlement, such as 152 hours for a standard 4-week year. Next, choose your accrual period to determine if the employee earns leave per pay or per annum. Don't forget to include the leave loading percentage if your industry award requires it. With Leave Setup done, we move to the brain of your payroll, tax, and Medicare setup. To be ATO compliant, your calculations must be mathematically perfect. We use a dynamic coefficient model, meaning when the ATO updates tax rates on July 1st, you can update the system yourself in seconds with no coding required. On the tax coefficients page, you'll input the variables from the ATO's NAT 1004 document. Define your income brackets using the floor and ceiling fields. Variable A and B are the heart of the PAYG formula, where variable A is your multiplier and variable B is a subtraction constant. This setup automates the tax-free threshold and tax scales to prevent underwithholding. Next, we move to the Medicare levy parameter screen. Most Australians pay a 2% levy, but the system uses specific scale numbers to ensure everyone is billed correctly. Using the scale drop-down, you can select the appropriate category, such as Scale 2 for those claiming the tax-free threshold, or Scale 3 for foreign residents. For each scale, you'll need to define the amount for key parameters like the weekly earnings threshold and the Shaden threshold. These settings allow the system to automatically apply low-income protections. Once these values are entered and the status is checked as active, your system becomes a future-proof source of truth for all Medicare calculations. With your configuration complete, it's time for the final act, executing a pay run. To begin, click New Pay Run, assign a schedule name, and set your payment date. When adding your team, the system's compliance guardrails ensure employees match the current cycle and aren't already in another active run. Now we refine the details. Use the salary setup action to verify individual earnings or deductions. Then lock the salary to trigger the calculation of gross earnings, taxable income, and net pay. Click Process Pay Run to update the status to Processed. You can now use a salary detail view to review a line-by-line breakdown for total transparency. For the final synchronization, click Post Salary to update your general ledger. Finalize the bank record, click Post Payment. The status changes to paid, creating a secure, permanent record. You can now bulk download or print professional, compliant-ready pay slips for your entire team with one click. With our GL accounts and tax coefficients locked in, let's look at the salary tax calculator. This isn't just a calculator. It's a powerful what-if and validation tool for onboarding or planning raises. Start in the general group, enter the gross income, and the system instantly determines your weekly income. From here, you can toggle the salary cycle between monthly, weekly, or fortnightly views and watch the cycle salary update in real time. Then, select your tax coefficient scale to pull the variables we configured earlier. The included superannuation toggle is a game changer for salary negotiations. When enabled, the calculator back calculates the taxable income to ensure the total package stays within the gross limit. You can also manually adjust the superannuation percentage to stay ahead of statutory increases. Now, click Calculate Tax. In one click, the system isolates your income tax, the Medicare levy, and the total calculated tax. This reveals the final net payable amount, giving your team total transparency and 100% confidence in the numbers. Because this calculator uses the same logic as your live payroll engine, it ensures your modeling is always audit ready.